Hi, my name is Kyle Loss, and I'm the Executive Director of Actors Theater, and we are excited today to be telling you about the next show coming up in our summer performance series. This is a new outdoor performance series for us, a great way to engage safely with the community, doing the art that we love. Many of you joined us for the show in May called Home, and we've got another one coming up next week, June 24 to 26, called Queer Stories. I want to introduce you to the creative team that we have working on this one. If you want to introduce yourselves.
Sure. Hi, I'm Ellie Francis. My pronouns are she, her, they, them, and I'm the director of this piece.
Hi, my name is Marcus Jordan. My pronouns are he, him, and I am serving as creative producer, collaborator, and I'm performing.
Yeah. I'm Jenna Becca Pope. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the production and stage manager for this event.
So, if you guys want to tell us a little bit about what is the Queer Stories show going to feel like? Is it going to be similar to Home for those who joined us for that, or what's it going to look and feel like?
Sure, I can take this one. It's absolutely going to feel similar to Home in the respect that it's very much so rooted in storytelling still. Actors Theater's mission is thought-provoking, innovative, challenging theater, theater that makes you think. So it has all of those pieces intertwined throughout, so in that respect, absolutely it's going to have the same feel, but it is also going to be inherently queer, because that is what we're here to do. So when we came together to put this show together, to put the show on its feet, each artist brought such beautiful parts of their experiences and their stories in this world. They picked their own music. Some of them wrote their own pieces. We have spoken word, we have poetry, we have people accompanying themselves, we have musicians. It's a beautiful prism of queerness. So in that way, it's definitely going to have its own energy, its own feel, and its own flow. But it's definitely part of the series, just in its own way. So yeah.
That's awesome. So Marcus, you've been also working with them musically. As a performer and as part of the artistic staff.
Yeah.
What is the sound of this one?
It is an explosion. I would say it is an explosion of joy, is how I would define that. There are lots of different genres. With Home, we really use the music theater canon to tell that story, and because queerness is, the very essence of queer is strange, it's different, it's unique, it's other. We really kind of dumped that in and kind of stirred it up, and then these folks kind of came out. So there's Stevie Wonder, there's Joni Mitchell, there's Sarah Bareilles, and then there is, of course, musical theater, because we all love that. So there's some of that as well, and there's like story songs written by musical theater composers, but not necessarily incorporated within a show. So you're going to hear a lot, and I think that the beautiful thing that we didn't even have to really create is the fact that these folks really brought who they are to the table, and the music is going to really showcase that, which is super exciting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I love that that's something unique about this series, is that folks are bringing in this work and sharing truly of themselves for the community, which is amazing.
Yes.
Like, it is such a gift.
Yes, it's beautiful.
So, Jenna, what excites you about the project? Like, why did you want to be a part of it? What's feeding your artistic self with this?
I think one of my favorite things about this project is the queer joy that is coming through a lot of these stories, like Marcus mentioned. A lot of the time during Pride Month, you see drag alone, or you see coming out stories, you see queer trauma, and this is not that journey. It is all of our artists brought this themselves, and I'm so excited to see them share that very intimate piece of themselves with an audience in a celebratory theater, in a celebratory space. So that's really my favorite piece of this. What I'm most looking forward to is seeing all of them share this of themselves.
That's totally right, Jenna. And like, the entire queer experience is so varied, like you're saying. And I think that's something that often divides and compartmentalizes queer experiences. So I'm curious, like, what with the differences in the queer experiences, like, what should the audience expect? What is it going to feel like in that way?
Sure. So something that we have been using as we've been collaborating and bringing the show together is the term prism. That I keep, even in rehearsal when we had the folks in working on their different pieces, is that For me at least, the queer community and the queer experience as a non-binary human has always felt like a prism. So no matter where the light hits you or how the light moves, it's going to have its own energy, and it can change from day to day and based off of different interactions. So all of that energy about having this queer experience moving through the world is in the show. So with that, with the varying experiences, with the multiple communities, the multiple perspectives that are being shared, that means that their material is going to be different. So we have some folks that are doing monologues. We have some folks that, like I said, have written their own pieces because that's a big part of who they are as a queer artist. We have some folks that had pieces commissioned and written for them because that was a big part of how they wanted to express themselves and move through this piece artistically. So while the first show, Home, was definitely like, beautifully painted and had this incredible like rooted nostalgia warmth to it, which was how that show moved, this show is more about individual experiences and celebrating those individual experiences, which may mean that some of them are more complex. Some of these experiences do have pain that they have experienced, and they picked pieces that felt nourishing for them to go through and navigate and share with the audience. So with that also meant that it was on our table to have a very safe space for these folks to come in and explore that. It's a huge amount of trust that they put in us, and that we definitely don't take lightly. It's an absolute privilege to share space with these artists. I'm so moved by what they've decided to share. They didn't have to share these parts of them, and they have. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The wonderful thing about being queer is that the intersectionality, right?
Yeah.
So you're gonna get Black queer stories. You're gonna get female queer stories. You're gonna get non-binary or non-gender conforming stories, and that is why this is so beautiful, is because it is not monochromatic at all. You're gonna get so many things. So like there will be Black expressions. There will be I am a woman that identifies as queer expressions, and like even in that statement, so much is going on there.
Yeah.
And we're gonna just kind of go with us because it is a ride.
It's
a ride. It's a beautiful, beautiful ride, and it's so actors, right? I think that,
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
thing that, Ellie has done so well, and Jenna and I have supported Ellie doing, is like creating that space for people to do that and to really be rocked by truth and honesty.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna get rocked.
Which comes with authenticity, right?
Yes,
so when you ask
yes.
people to be authentic, and when you ask people to be honest, that's scary. That's a scary question. That's a scary question for folks of marginalized communities. It's a scary question for queer folks, especially in Grand Rapids. We're in the Midwest, so we can name that too and own that as where we are. So that can. Those fears could have easily kept people from sharing parts of themselves. And these artists, they're committing to themselves. Something we talked about in rehearsal too is that each one of these artists has shown up for themselves in very beautiful and honest and authentic ways. And so that you can receive as an audience very well and connect to. So the only other thing I want to say is just like come and enjoy this. I want every single person I've ever met to meet these artists and their stories, because I'm so thrilled and I'm so excited that they're getting to show them.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're trying to make this as accessible as possible for the entire community. Tickets are pay what you can. If that's $1, great. If it's $15, wonderful. We just want you to be here, like you said.
Yeah.
Come experience these stories. Come be a part of the actors' family for a night. Come back next month for another show. It's a great experience, a great opportunity to explore some really honest stories. Feel something of yourself and discover something of someone in your community that you might not have known before. So the show is at John Hyatt and Associates on Alpine, June 24 to 26 at 7 p.m. And we cannot wait to see you all there.